All right, so buckle up because today
But this is going to be fun.
we're doing something a little different for this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We are tackling
Yeah.
a homemade jelly bean recipe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's a little different from some of the stuff that we normally deep dive into,
Right.
but
I'm intrigued.
we are all about that aha moment.
Absolutely.
Like, we want to make sure we understand the why
Of course. Yeah.
behind the deliciousness,
Behind everything.
not just like blindly following the steps.
Right.
So I will say
Yeah.
that just even reading through this recipe before we get started,
Uh-huh.
it is packed with aha moments.
Okay, good.
And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. I am ready.
Let's do
Love
it. Let's jump right in.
Okay.
This recipe that we're going to be talking about today comes from
All right.
delish.com.
Okay.
And it is their homemade gourmet jelly bean recipe.
Ooh, gourmet.
Yeah.
I like it.
So they call it our sweet kitchen adventure,
You okay?
which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Homemade jelly beans are easier than you might think.
Okay.
Plus, you can make them as vibrant and as tasty as you want.
Ooh, I like it already. And we like to be in control, right?
Absolutely.
So this is perfect.
Like full customization.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
This is speaking my language.
So where do we even begin?
You hit the nail on the head with that one. That is exactly what I was thinking.
I mean,
Where do we even begin?
I know, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I think a good place to start is like
Okay.
some of the ingredients and what makes them so special in a jelly bean.
Okay, so like why these ingredients, why not just like throw anything in a pot
Right.
and hope for the best?
Exactly.
Well, fuck yeah.
So let's start with the heart of any good jelly bean.
Okay.
Sugar.
There's Azabi there, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
I mean, sugar makes things sweet.
It does.
But what's really cool about sugar in this instance
Okay.
is that it's not just about flavor.
Okay.
It is a natural preservative.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. So those little jelly beans are like these little time capsules of just sweetness.
Exactly.
Wow.
Little sugary time capsules.
I'm learning so much already. I love it.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Before we had refrigeration,
Right.
preserving food
Huge.
was a really big deal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, jams and jellies, which are packed with sugar,
Right.
those were a way to kind of hold on to that summer fruit.
It's like a little taste of summer later.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that's what sugar is doing.
That's incredible.
It's like this ingredient
Yeah.
that has so much history behind it.
Wow. And we just pop them in our mouths.
I know, isn't that wild?
That's so cool.
So
Okay, what else is there?
what else
Besides sugar?
besides sugar? Well, we've got
Yeah.
corn syrup,
Corn syrup. Okay.
the unsung hero
Yeah.
of chewy candy.
Really? I always thought corn syrup was... Tell me what you thought.
A little sus.
But I'm ready to be proven wrong.
Okay, so
Yeah.
corn syrup
Yeah.
prevents crystallization.
Okay.
So without it,
Yeah.
you wouldn't get that smooth, almost bouncy texture
Oh.
that we've come to know and love.
Okay. So corn syrup is like the peacekeeper of the jelly bean party.
100%.
It's preventing a sugary riot in my mouth.
Exactly.
I can get behind that.
So we've got our sugar,
Got it.
we've got our corn syrup.
We're getting there.
What about the ingredient
Yeah.
that actually gives these treats their shape?
You're talking about the gelatin.
The one, the only.
Okay. This is where things get interesting.
This is where things get real.
Right.
Because we're not just talking about adding a powder here.
Okay.
We're talking about a process
Ooh.
called blooming.
Blooming.
Yes.
I've heard of this.
Have you ever done it?
I haven't. I've always wanted to, but I've just been too scared. Like, what if I mess it up?
You know what? It's so funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Because when I first read that, I was very intimidated.
Yeah, it feels very,
Professional.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm there yet.
Right. It does feel very like
I don't even know.
advanced.
Yeah.
But I will say
Yeah.
that this recipe makes it very approachable.
Okay, good.
And it's actually really cool.
Okay.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
you're telling me
Mm-hmm.
that I can sprinkle this powder,
Yeah.
add water, and boom, we have a transformation.
Kitchen magic.
It feels very much like kitchen magic.
I love that.
Yeah.
I will say,
Yeah.
I do know a little something or two about gelatin.
Okay, lay it on me.
Okay, so for all of our listeners out there, you know, who are like really into the recipes and stuff,
Right.
not all gelatin is created equal.
Okay.
Some gelatin is like,
What are the different types?
so we're working with powdered gelatin in this recipe,
Okay.
which tends to bloom faster
Okay.
than those sheets you might use for like a mousse or a panna cotta.
Interesting. So are there any tips
Oh, yeah.
that you have for working with the powdered gelatin?
Because it blooms faster.
Yes.
You've got to be ready for it.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like,
You
you don't want to like
Uh,
oversaturate it, I guess.
Okay. So don't overbloom.
Yeah, you don't want to overbloom,
Gotcha.
which could make your jelly beans rubbery.
Oh, I don't want that.
So nobody wants that.
No, thank you.
Yeah, so just like keep an eye on it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got our gelatin blooming.
Blooming.
Our sugar is measured out.
Yes.
What happens next?
This is where things start to heat up. It starts to get steamy. Things are heating up. We're bringing that sugar mixture to a boil.
Okay.
And this is where a little culinary lingo comes in handy.
Okay, I'm ready.
We're aiming for what's known as the softball stage.
The softball stage.
Yes. Have you heard of this?
Okay, so I'm not a master chef or anything, but I
Okay.
do love me some culinary lingo. So tell me more. Okay, so imagine you're dropping a bit of that hot syrup into cold water.
Okay.
At the softball stage, it will form a soft, malleable ball, kind of like how you want your jelly bean to be.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all coming together. Like,
Yeah.
we're literally seeing the texture come to life.
Exactly. And that's how you know it's ready.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about the testing.
This is where my inner mad scientist gets really excited.
Okay.
Because we're about to introduce color
Yes.
and flavor.
This is my favorite part.
It's like the personalization really comes out here.
This is where you can get creative.
100%.
You can let your personal touch shine through.
I'm already like brainstorming flavor combos.
I know, me too.
But before we go too far down that rabbit hole,
Okay.
let's talk about the coloring.
Okay.
So the recipe mentions food coloring.
Yes.
Are there any tips or tricks when it comes to that?
You've got your liquid food coloring,
Okay, the classics.
which are pretty standard, but for like a more vibrant hue
Okay.
and a little thicker consistency,
All right.
you could try gel food coloring.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Okay.
And for listeners who are all about the natural ingredients,
Yes.
you can experiment with fruit and vegetable powders.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like beet powder makes a gorgeous pink,
Okay.
and spirulina for like a fun blue.
That's so smart. I never even thought about using natural coloring
I know.
for something like this.
No.
That changes everything.
It's a game changer for sure.
Okay, so we've got our color, we've got our flavor,
Yeah.
we've got our gelatin all bloomed.
Bloomed to perfection.
Yes.
Our syrup is at the softball stage.
It's go time.
We're in the home stretch now.
I'm so excited.
Now comes the moment of truth.
Oh.
We're combining all these carefully prepped ingredients,
Okay.
and this is where having the right tools can make all the difference.
Okay, I'm listening.
The recipe specifically mentions molds.
Right. Which makes sense.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
pretty standard.
Yeah, and for good reason.
Right.
You want that classic jelly bean shape.
Exactly.
Plus, it helps them set evenly.
That makes sense.
But,
Yeah.
the recipe also mentions using a shallow dish if you don't have molds.
They knew I
do
wouldn't
know.
have the mold.
It's like they're speaking directly to us,
100%.
which I appreciate.
Same.
It's very approachable.
So if I'm using a shallow dish, are there any like tips or tricks to keep in mind?
You might need to adjust your setting time a little bit.
Okay.
Just keep an eye on them.
Gotcha.
But,
Yeah.
I think we could take that DIY spirit even further.
So
Remember how we talked about cornstarch being magical?
for the dusting.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
cornstarch isn't just for preventing sticky situations.
Okay.
It can be used to make molds.
Wait, cornstarch molds?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Okay, so picture this.
Yeah.
You take a shallow dish,
Uh-huh.
fill it with a thick layer of cornstarch,
Okay.
and then use the back of a spoon.
To create little indentations.
Mmm,
Those become your molds.
that's so smart.
Let them dry out completely, and you've got these perfectly imperfect homemade molds.
I love that.
I know. It's fun, right?
Edible pottery.
It is edible pottery, exactly.
I'm obsessed with this.
It's very creative.
Okay, so we've got our jelly beans.
Yeah.
They're molded, they're
That's
setting.
the thing.
What happens next?
Now for the grand finale. The dusting.
The final act.
Yes.
It's all about that final flourish.
It's all about presentation.
100%.
Right.
And this recipe
Yeah,
does not disappoint.
it doesn't.
Cornstarch.
Okay.
Powdered sugar.
Talk to me.
What is the science
Yeah, what's the deal?
behind this dynamic duo?
Okay. And
Like, why these two?
it's all about creating that like melt in your mouth experience.
Okay,
Right? That
great.
dusting of cornstarch and powdered sugar.
Yes.
It's not just for looks.
Okay.
It serves a purpose.
I love a multitasker.
Right.
So tell me more.
Cornstarch is a powerhouse of absorption. It soaks up any excess moisture.
It's like adding a little raincoat
Exactly.
to each jelly bean,
Yes.
protecting them.
Protecting them from humidity.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Extending the shelf life.
Which is great for gift giving.
Exactly. Which this recipe is perfect for gift giving.
Yes.
Because you make so much.
That's what I was going to say. It does make like a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the powdered sugar.
Okay. Powdered sugar adds that little bit of extra sweetness.
Of course.
Obviously.
Duh.
Right. But it also, because it's so finely ground,
Yeah.
it makes that like velvety, smooth texture that we all love.
It's like that final touch of like
Yes.
luxury.
It elevates it 100%.
Okay, so we've talked about using this for the jelly beans.
Right.
But can we use this like cornstarch powdered sugar dusting
Absolutely.
or other things?
Think about it. Like
Bronco.
you just made a batch of homemade fudge.
Okay.
Or like candied orange peels.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right.
I love candied orange peels.
Instead of them being like a big old
Sticky mess.
glump. Thank you.
A little sprinkle of this.
It's like the magic fairy dust.
Exactly.
Of like
Keeps everything nice and
of
separate.
the culinary world.
Yes.
I'm obsessed.
I know. It's a good trick.
It's so good.
It's a game changer.
Okay, so this recipe talks about how great these are for gift giving.
Right.
Which I completely agree. I think they would be so fun to give as gifts.
And you know what?
Yeah.
We're all about elevating the everyday experience.
Yes, we are.
So why just toss them in a gift bag?
Okay, I'm listening.
Imagine these like vibrant homemade jelly beans
Okay.
nestled in little mason jars.
Oh, that's cute.
Right.
I love that.
Tied with a little ribbon.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
Or how about like those clear cellophane cones
Yeah.
with a mix of colors and flavors?
Oh my gosh, that's what I'm talking about. Presentation is everything.
It's all about the presentation. I love it.
Okay, so little touches.
This is what I love about our deep dives.
What's that?
We start with a simple jelly bean recipe.
Right.
We end up with like gourmet gift-giving strategies.
Love it.
And a newfound appreciation for cornstarch.
Who knew?
Right.
Cornstarch is the real MVP.
Cornstarch really is the hero of this story.
100%.
It's true. But you know, this whole conversation has got me thinking, if we can be this creative and hands-on with our jelly beans at home and use like simple ingredients that we can pronounce, it makes you wonder about those mass-produced candies that are lining the grocery store shelves right now.
What is really in those?
What's going on there?
We just put in, what, 5 ingredients
I know.
to make these delicious jelly beans.
So good.
All right.
It really makes you think.
It does.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those sugary depths.
Those sugary depths. I love it.
We hope this episode has inspired you to not just follow recipes, but to really understand them.
Yes.
To get curious about the why.
Always ask why.
Behind each ingredient and each step.
Exactly.
Happy experimenting, everyone.
Have fun out there.